Hello again, everybody out there, all you music lovers and vinyl collectors in the VC, United States and abroad. Yep, back for another installment on the final wrap-up of stuff that I didn't have in my collection that I got from a friend's collection that he passed down to me here recently. So we begin where we left off, John and Vangelis. This was, now there were two different releases of this with different artwork. The one that I have was, I think, a brown cover, and this is the white cover. So, I've got both copies now of this. Great album here. The Friends of Mr. Cairo, Back to School. Outside of this, inside of that was a beautiful track. State of Independence, Beside, and the Mayflower. All great listen. Great listen here. And then a better copy that doesn't have ringware of their first short stories. This album here had the beautiful song that was a big radio hit in 1980. Yeah, I was painting houses up in Kansas City, actually over in Kansas in Mission Hills, when this was on the radio. And they were playing this kind of back to back. You heard Follow You, Follow Me. So when I hear You Now, I'm always reminded of Genesis's Follow You, Follow Me from '78, which they had in the same, radio, recycle of songs every 5 or 6 hours. So, and then there was a Billy Joel song that I kept hearing, and one by was it the Spinners? I don't know, but yeah, those 4 songs. Another good album here. Kind of, there's a few songs on here that kind of remind me of Vangelis's Bo Borg. Just kind of messing around with little electronic sounds. A little bit more abstract. So yeah, glad to find that. And then Jean-Michel Jarre, was this a French compilation? Yeah, on Discs Dreyfus. I think this is a 1982 release. I've only seen this in the racks 2 times in my entire life. Usually you see his 85, The Essential, in the racks, but I like this cover better. Got the water there, the ocean, beautiful sunset, gal holding up a seashell, listening to the ocean and the seashell there. Yeah, cool cover. Yeah, I love all of his music. 76, 78, 81 with Magnetic Fields, and then Concerts in China, 82, and then Zoo Look from 84. Kind of a strange experimenting with voices on that one. George Murubus, and this is Brazilian Tapestry. Catalyst, New Direction in Jazz on Catalyst Records. Good listen here. Hadn't heard of this artist. Very good music though. Steve Narahara. And you can see the other musicians there. This is kind of a new agey jazz pop, from what I remember. On Pausa Records, 1983. From about 1969 or 70. I think 69 on this one, or 70. This is Omnibus, a Psych album here. Really a different listen. Not too bad, not too bad. And one I know, Carm, Gorvo 31. You know, Carm, this is your favorite group of all time, right up there with Tangerine Dream. You've said that many times in your videos. Yeah, here we have Oregon in performance. 2-record set, great listen. 4 incredibly talented musicians there. Wow. Mercy Sakes Alive. Many collaborations. Excellent. Check out Oregon. Passport. This is one I don't see hardly ever in the record racks. You usually see their more futuristic, you know, covers, but this one is, I'll actually like this one better than some of their later stuff. This is Sky Blue. I think it came out with 2 different covers and titles, but the music's the same as far as I know. Yeah, great band here. German, I think. Progressive jazz fusion. And this is Jean-Luc Ponty with his electric violin, Cosmic Messenger. And you all know Steve Roach. What a prolific career. Yeah, right up there with Kevin Brahini and Michael Stearns, and one of these musicians after another that's all been on Hearts of Space, music from the Hearts of Space radio show by PBS, going strong since '73 when Stephen Hill and Anna Turner started up and then Anna Turner passed away, so now it's Stephen Hill and another partner doing the show. But yeah, Steve Roach from his early days here with Empetus, kind of a more upbeat, high energy, driving, you know, rhythm going here with his electronic synth. You know, very spacey, space rock kind of. Tom Scott, Desire. I think he was kind of a new age jazz pop musician when that you know, when VH1 had their new sounds, I think he would probably be one that you would hear on that. And then, you know, when that new age pop was blended in with jazz, real popular in the mid to late 80s on the radio stations. More jazzy pop here with Tom Scott. Blow It Out is the title of that one. And a Mondo classic here for me anyway. This is Klaus Schultz and the 2 brothers, Michael and Kevin Shreve on percussion. Klaus Schultz on synths here. Very jazzy, futuristic, kind of a spacey album here. Transfer Station Blue. Excellent album. This was one featured heavily on New Sounds on VH1 in the early days when VH1 played pop and the New Age and the jazz all on the same format blend of videos. Yeah, great stuff. And another nice jazz New Age, Shadowfax. Had a lot of nice output. Worth checking out. And This one's on Windham Hill. Great label there, the Windham Hill label. This is 1982. And another album I really enjoyed, 2 LP set, Sky. And a different release that I was missing on Tangerine Dream's Exit there. This had 2 covers. I think one had this picture on the front. They just kind of switched it there. Great album here, all the way through. That's 81, just before their digital switch. Good analog stuff there. Very creative stuff from the guys. Here's Aircraft, kind of a more mellow, jazzy new age pop here. Something I would think the stuff I'm showing here is kind of more down Carm and Gary's alley, that I know in the vinyl community are heavy into jazz. And you know, I know Carm likes the unorthodox sounds, you know, as he puts it, on the Catero record label, a short-lived record label. I think Cyril Verdeau also put out an album on the Catero label that's in my collection. These might be the only 2 Catero records I have. So Near, So Far, title of that one. And then I love Kate Bush, especially her earlier first 2 or 3 albums, which were more highly progressive than the rest of her more pop, radio-friendly stuff. But this is Never Forever, good album. Very talented young gal, in her teens when she started out, and did a full-blown theater play. Kind of winging it there, hoping that, you know, didn't make any mistakes so her career could take off. Real nice documentary on her early phase here up on YouTube if you want to watch it. Yeah, very talented. I think even her brother or brothers join her in some of her play there and music that she made in the studio. Miles Davis, wow, big. This is when he's getting into the later sound experimentations. Star People. Let's see, what year is that one from? 83. 83. Yeah, Just Blue. 59, classic by him. Dry Jack. Very, very good album here. Jazzy pop. But more of a jazz here, all the way through. Really fun listen. Cool cover on the front there too. I like that. Kind of a Stonehenge feel to it. Sundial. Here's Emerald Webb, Lights of the Ivory Plain, by Bob Stoll and Kat Eppel. Bob Stoll passed away too young. Kat Eppel, I think, is still making music. Yeah, they made some great stuff. Their first debut album was Dragon Wings and Wizard Tales from '79. And that particular album is kind of a kind of a fantasy space rock. Excellent album. Excellent synthesizer sounds in there that they both put out. Yeah, the weather's been very dry here. Low humidity down here, so all this talking's drying out my throat. But yeah, here's the cover. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous cover there. This is from 1984. And then they had Cat's Paw and Aqua Regia from '82. And a bunch of others. Some of them were released only on cassette. And this was one that happened to be released on album. On the Fortuna Records label. the same record label that that Transfer Station Blue I just showed was on. Brian Eno and David Byrne, My Life in the Bush of Ghosts. I really dug this album here. He has blended a whole bunch of, I don't know how I would describe this, a whole bunch of recordings of all these televangelists mixed to kind of a new wave music with great percussion by David Byrne of the Talking Heads. Yeah. You wouldn't expect it to be that great, but it's really a fun listen. They really did a good job at splicing and putting all this stuff together. I really got a laugh out of that. Yeah, here's something down Carm's alley, and those of you that like also another artist that comes to mind that most of you prog lovers out there over in Europe, you're familiar with Steve Hillage. He used to be with Gong, and then he went solo, put out some great psychedelic spacey stuff with the Pothead Pixies in there, and High Tea Moonweed, Tim Blake, who did Crystal Machine and New Jerusalem. Well, anyway, Steve Hillage back in '79 put out a solo album of just him on synth, and it's called Rainbow Dome Music, which was featured very early on in Hearts of Space from San Francisco, California weekend radio show. And that particular album, Rainbow Dome Music, has 2 long extended tracks, epics, on each side of the album. Well, the side of the album that has what sounds like vibes, very spacey, delicate vibes, just kind of floating and drifting. And then these water sounds like you're inside of one of these geodomes with a park in there and trees like they have over in Topeka, Kansas. I forgot the name of those, but that's what I picture in my mind hearing that album. And Stephen Halpern here, his music is like relaxation therapy music that the psychoanalysts and, de-stressing clinics that you'd go to kind of relax, and they'd have this playing in the background. That's what this music reminds me of. Very similar to Steve Hillage's Rainbow Dome music, at least for me. And here he's joined by Georgia Kelly, who did a lot of great albums that you heard on Hearts of Space. Very new agey here. Excellent album from 1978, I think. Excuse me, I love that album. And Eastern Peace here is the album that most reminds me of Rainbow Dome music, on about maybe 4 or 5 tracks. Yeah, this guy has the original textured cover from 1982, I think, recorded in 78. Yeah, a neighbor gal, when I was living up in Kansas City, my next door neighbor, Kelly, I had been having all these headaches and just stressed out working in the heat, and she had just gone to de-stress and gave me a cassette that had Stephen Halpern's music on it, and I recorded samples of that, took it to a record store to figure out who the artist was, because it wasn't written on the, and that's how I got into Stephen Halpern in the early 80s. Michael Honig, he had his departure from the Northern Wasteland in 78. And then here, a few years later, he has his Accept One. This is a little more upbeat, less spacey and floaty like his first one there. Let's see, what year is this one from? 87, so yeah, 9 years later. And then we wrap it up here with some Windham Hill record samplers. This is a Windham Hill 1015 81 sampler. William Ackerman, Robbie Basho, Alex DeGrassi, Daniel Hecht, David Quayle, Bill Quist, and George Winston on that one. Windham Hill 1035, an 84 sampler. Michael Hedges, oh, love his guitar. He died too young. Michael Hedges, Mark Isham, another great synthesist. William Ackerman, George Winston, Shadowfax, Alex DeGrassi, Scott Cosu, Scott Cosu, Bill Oskay, and Michael O'Domno. On this one, Winter Solstice, various artists on this one. Really like that cover there. See, this is from 85. Yeah, David Quayle, Ira Stein, Russell Walder, William Ackerman, Philip Auberg, Bill Oskay, Michael O'Domnell, Liz Story, Daryl Anger, and Mike Marshall, Malcolm Dalglish, Shadowfax, Mark Isham. Windham Hill Records Samplers 86. Selections from the Windham Hill Records catalog. More of the same artists there. Different songs. And that one was from 86. Weather Report, Mysterious Traveler. I think I've got 2 copies of this now. I'll probably trade this one. It's got a little ring wear. My other one is better. Weather Report, Heavy Weather, 77. Another copy of this one. I'll probably pass this one on. But that's the first, my first introduction to Weather Report in 77 was that album there. Great album all the way through. And this album here, Black Market, I really loved this one too, all the way through. I had never heard this one until just recently. Really enjoyed it. Nice percussion on here. A very ethnic, tribal sound in this one, kind of. Really cool. They always had a lot of detailed, busy album cover art there. And then another good album here I really enjoyed, their Night Passage, that I hadn't added to my collection. And then another one I had, but a better copy. Kind of had some ring wear on mine. See, this one was called Procession. For me, this was a little weaker than the other 3 I showed. And a classic here, George Winston. Piano solos, Autumn. Love that cover. Can just kind of feel that cool, brisk fall air moving in across the plain there. The chill in the air and the low humidity. Yeah, he was featured a lot on Hearts of Space. Ballads and Blues, 1972, another George Winston. This one is from 81 on Lost Lake Arts Records. And Winter into Spring, another beautiful cover there. Yeah, nice. Very pretty. Probably very evocative of the music. I've yet to hear a few of these. But he never disappoints. and piano solos. Oh yeah, this is December. Boy, it's hard to see there, but yeah, you can see the emboss, the emboss. Yeah, definitely cool with the snow cover there. And then finally, Jean-Luc Ponty, Mystical Adventures. So let's see, anything else? Oh yes, I recently picked up this excellent, just discovered it by accident, and unfortunately it was only available on CD, so I had to get the CD. But this is Maarifa Street Magic Realism 2. Now, just by that title, which artist do you think it's by? I'll give you a hint. He collaborated with Brian Eno a lot. He plays this here very spacey, unique treated trumpet. Yeah, John HASSELL. Cool. Listen here. Really dug this. Love it. Here he's going into kind of a very futuristic, spacey, but with New Age, or these modern, it's kind of it's new meets old, basically. It sounds kind of a tribal and old school blended with a techno. So imagine his old music, and it kind of just sounded like it was from South America or Africa, with all those primitive beats on there. But here there's more of a synth techno added to it, and it's very futuristic and spacey, like this techno space lounge music. It's just awesome. Highly recommend this album here. All the songs are just excellent. Got really cool cover art. Yeah. So, and I'll wrap the video up with these little Mr. Clean sponges, these dry sponges. You get marks off of, I think these take that permanent Sharpie marker off a lot of surfaces. Well, anyway, using these dry, of course, these work great to dip your turntable needle down into to keep your needles clean. I just take a scissors and cut off a little piece here and keep it down by my turntable to keep my needles clean. So, well, that wraps up this video here. Hope you enjoyed, everybody. And in the next vinyl finds, I will be showing my accumulations of the last 9 months to a year and a half ago. So this stuff goes from about several months all the way back 9 months, and some of it goes back a year and a half that I had just had in other boxes and I had failed to show. So hey, hope you enjoyed, everybody. Take care. Talk to you later.